My parents always told me to finish architecture school as fast as I can so that I can start working. And very early on, when I was an undergraduate at Virginia, I was drawn to the idea of somehow combining practice and teaching. I liked very much how many of my teachers were both practitioners, but also engaged in academia. So I decided early on that's what I wanted to do. After I graduated with my master's, I worked for a year in London for an architect named Dimitri Porphyrios, who had been my teacher at Yale as well. And he had a PhD. And while working in London, it was fantastic, of course, but I realized then that I was not going to be happy with just having a master's in architecture. That there was too much material that I wanted to process or get through and have at my disposal. So that's what led me to go back to a PhD. I have been in and out of practice my life. I mean, when I was in high school and college, I'd work at my parents' interior design firm, and I'd learn, basic things of office structure and management and all that. And I got to work a little bit on some design things. I was pretty good at running blueprints and redlining, not redlining, but correcting the red lines. And after my PhD, I collaborated with a few architects on things. There was a time when there was an architect from Italy, from Parma, Piercarlo Bontempi. He and I developed a close friendship. And we actually started a company. He works out of Parma, but we created a limited liability in the United States. And we were doing pretty well for 3 years. We had a lot of projects that were in various stages of development. And then the 2008 recession hit, and that sort of killed it. And at that point, I really decided that I just want to focus on academia. Now, I've always been drawing, as I said earlier, and watercolor painting, and that's something I've continued to do over the years. And I've been exhibiting for some 20 years. I'm nothing major, of course, but it's something that I do as an architect, or I feel that's important to do as an architect. I don't consider myself a professional artist per se, but I do feel that I engage in representation as a way of thinking about things and communicating things that would otherwise not be as effective. Or in other words, drawing is a way of telling stories that words and sentences and essays and books don't quite capture. And so it's another way of communicating for me, and it's something that I think is important. I keep plugging away at that. So the ARC has been largely academic, occasionally professional practice. I'm not licensed, so I always have to find people to collaborate with whom are licensed, and representational. And that has been the kind of, I don't see myself practicing. I did design an extension to the Bernice Steinbaum Gallery in Coconut Grove, and it was built. And I'm delighted at that, and hopefully I can show it to you one day. It's a fabulous, tiny little addition in the form of a concrete triangular bastion. It's like a colonial fortress. In fact, we call it La Fortaleza because it's this impervious bunker of art that it's very powerful, in fact. But I don't see myself practicing much more.